As Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment is being debated in Parliament, Morara Kebaso, upon being released, stormed Nairobi's CBD. Have a look at this. That's Morara Kebaso. Let's put all that into perspective for Kenyans to understand what all that means. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's proceed. Let me say this. William Ruto's government took a very expensive gambling, arresting Morara, and then we have Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment. But from what we heard from Morara supporters, they don't care whether Rigathi is impeached or not. In fact, they don't care what Ruto does or what Rigathi does. Kenyans are just fed up of these politicians. Which games could William Ruto be playing here, ladies and gentlemen? If you look at William Ruto, Ruto has already laid out a strategy on how he will win 2027 presidential elections. And the strategy is to divide Kenyans along ethnic and tribal lines. That's largely how our Kenyan politicians do campaign. They mobilize themselves and they mobilize their tribes along ethnic lines. And if you look at the opposition, in the event Rigathi will be impeached, he'll also just mobilize his tribe and they'll gang up with another tribe, another ethnic leader, and then they'll face off with William Ruto. That's largely how our politics is being played, and more so with the big tribes. Very tribal. A strong Morara come 2027 might be a blessing in disguise to William Ruto. If Morara is strong, he will clearly divide the opposition vote, and that will hand William Ruto a second term, in that the opposition will split its votes between Morara, Kalonzo, and Rigathi. In the event, all these three individuals contest for the presidency. So a strong Morara can be a blessing in disguise to William Samoei Ruto. So it might be possible that Ruto is cleverly trying to make Morara strong, for Morara to divide the opposition votes. I don't just expect or imagine that somebody like Morara, William Ruto can just start arresting Morara without any reason. We know, and I know William Ruto knows, that by arresting Morara, he's just building Morara politically. In fact, Morara is stronger today than he was yesterday, just because of that arrest. The arrest has made Morara very popular. And William Ruto might use that strategy to a point Morara will be so strong that he will not be able to drop out of the presidential election. The more Morara becomes strong, the more likely he is to contest for the presidency come the next election. Can Kalonzo or Rigathi support Morara? The answer is a very big no. Age is not on Kalonzo's side. Kalonzo is over 70 years, and I don't think age is on his side. Rigathi Gachagua too, with this mountain vote, I don't think he will also just support Morara that easily. So we might have Rigathi contesting, Kalonzo contesting, and Morara. Or we might have either Rigathi or Kalonzo supporting one another. And then we might also have Morara. If that's the case, then the opposition will clearly split its votes and William Ruto will win a second term. So it might be a strategy by William Ruto to build Morara. This government is trying to make Morara strong. That's what I'm saying here. Yesterday, I also talked about a sabotage. And the sabotage, very many people still don't understand. Arresting Morara at the time Rigathi is going to be impeached could have been a strategy by William Ruto's enemies in the government to incite Kenyans against Ruto's government. And we saw some pockets of demonstrations today in Nairobi demanding for the release of Morara. And even that video we have seen, it's clear it can easily lead to serious Gen Z revolution, something similar to what we saw on 25th June this year. So it's also likely that some William Ruto's enemies in this government are trying to sabotage him. They are trying to do what Ruto did to Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru thought he was in control. Little did he know that William Ruto was calling shots. So it might be possible. Some people might also be sabotaging Ruto. And again, William Ruto should not be sympathized with because he's also just being served from the same dish he did serve Uhuru Kenyatta. What goes around comes around. And now if you look at Morara, Morara is being received well across the country, a confirmation that Kenyans are tired of these politicians. Kenyans are just tired of these politicians. They come with empty promises. They give Kenyans so many hopes, only to deflate Kenyan hopes upon them getting into those offices. So Kenyans are seriously tired of these politicians. And I'm also seeing Kenyans very disparate. They are fed up with the politicians to a point anybody can easily sway them. And that's also something I keep on repeating in this forum, that Kenyans should also not be disparate. A day in Kenyan politics is a very long period of time. Kenyans should not be disparate. They should vet all these candidates who are presenting themselves as possible William Ruto's replacements. They must do thorough vetting on these individuals, lest they end up with even a worse off president or leaders than William Samoei Ruto himself. And now we are still watching keenly what is happening in Parliament. The impeachment motion is still being debated, but it's somehow very clear that if it proceeds the way it's proceeding, Rigathi is going home. Rigathi's only option is to resign. And just as I did explain in our earlier analysis, we might be having some breaking news soon in the coming hours. Rigathi can easily resign because now he has tried everything, but all that has failed. He has gone to courts. The courts have refused to stop the impeachment. So his only option is to resign. And who do you think will benefit if Rigathi does not resign? We are seeing the likes of Kalonzo embracing Rigathi. If Rigathi is impeached, Kalonzo will most likely be the beneficiary. That's why we are seeing him embracing Rigathi recently. So again, Kalonzo is just exhibiting these opportunistic tendencies. You are just positioning yourself to reap from someone's downfall. Kalonzo has to be a man. He has to fight like a man. If he positions himself to reap from people's sorrows, then even God cannot allow him. Let him fight like a man. What Rigathi needed was numbers. Kalonzo promised that he was going to mobilize his troops to defeat that impeachment motion, but from what we are seeing, most Wiper members of parliament did append their signatures to send Rigathi home. And even the mover of that motion comes from Kalonzo Musyoka's, and even the mover of that motion comes from Kalonzo Musyoka's stronghold. So Kalonzo has failed to help stop Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment. Interesting political times ahead. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Kenya.